What's up, crypto fam? It's Phantom. We're just going to be doing a quick check of the markets again tonight. See what's going on in the world. See what's going on in crypto news. Do some quick price analysis. Just looking at the charts, seeing if anything makes sense in a world that doesn't. I always like to start out lately with the fear and greed index. We actually ticked up a little bit, and my guess is it's because there were sanctions put onto Russia, so they started to feel the repercussions of their actions, and that people are in favor of that. People want to see them be punished for doing bad things in the world. Um, Hopefully, it's enough of a deterrent for them to stop doing what they're doing, but only time will tell. But I think I think a lot of people really like seeing it because I think it gives people comfort that they may not keep trying to push harder and harder and harder if the entire world is going to push back. I don't think they're ready for that, but they live in their own little bubble of the world, right? So, it's something that we just have to continue watching, as I mentioned multiple times in my previous videos. It's going to be, it needs to be watched closely because it's going to have a say on what the market does, for sure. It's gonna play a part. So us going up to 25, I think ticking up just because of the sanctions being slapped against Russia. So yeah, I say keep hitting them with it. Don't let down. So on top of that, we'll take a look at some basic price that we got in the market today. So Bitcoin has pushed back up, has recovered some. Obviously, 24 hours ago we're down a percent point, but it did get uglier over the night, last night, early this morning. The S&P opened in a bloodbath, so I think that dragged our price down some. We're now recovering from that, and I hope that we can continue pushing harder. There are quite a few people calling for enormous resistance pockets at 40,000, at least on my Twitter feed. There's no weekly level at 40,000 really per se. We kind of came through it at a weekly level. The only weekly support that I see as far as resistance for us to chew through is going to be in the 42 to 43,000 region. But at a daily level, there is some resistance at the 40,000 level, and also it's it looks like this pocket of resistance at right around 40,000, just on a daily chart. So I think we get some resistance there. I don't think it's going to. I think if we get bullish news enough to carry us up to 40,000, we're going to get through 40,000. Is my opinion. Not financial advice, but that's how I look at it. Even if we pass 40,000, I'm still going to be sitting on my hands. With all of the global events going on and the uncertainty in a lot of the markets, I'm okay waiting and even getting a later entry. Is once I have more conviction in what's going on. So I think I would wait to clear this resistance that I've drawn. See if we come back down and actually use it as support to propel ourselves up. That is something I'd be interested in buying. I'd also be interested in buying if we can clear the resistance and shoot into the the 50,000 level. I think if we break 58,000, it's a main mission again. So I think if we like I said, break through this, if we go through it with a lot of conviction, I'd be interested as a buyer. If we get through this pocket resistance, bounce back off of it, and actually use it as support, I'd be interested. Outside of that, I'm kind of just I'm content with just sitting on the sidelines, waiting to see how things play out. Waiting to see what the fear and greed index looks like. What crypto Twitter determines. I'm still seeing a bunch of people making bear calls, and that's fine by me. Generally, with a few exceptions, a lot of the large accounts just push the narrative of the trend, and the trend is your friend. I don't see anything wrong with that, but it's very easy to be bear market. It's more difficult to find the evidence to remain bullish when everyone else is going to pile on top of you because they're in a bearish trend, and getting the I told you so's every day for your analysis to put us in a bull type of market when everybody's losing money. So yeah, I think that's tough. There's just a couple headlines that I noticed in the news today. I did draw this yesterday. I'm not sure if it's helpful to anybody, but on Twitter, these are consistently the what the fear and greed index was at when we started new types of rallies. You can see one of our largest start of the rallies is when our fear and greed was at 10. So there was enormous fear in the market. Again, enormous fear in the market, and we're at enormous fear in the market. We tend to rally when that fear moves on up, or moves on down. We move on up, is what I should say. Obviously, if we're in a very strong bear cycle, doesn't work as easily. But that said, still I believe being in just a kind of like a bear event in a bullish market overall. These are indicators that I watch for the next move to the upside, for the trend reversal. Right now we're trending to the downside, but generally when these get low enough and enough fear hits the market, is when I tend to want to become more greedy and hope for the trend reversal. So just a couple things that I found in the news articles today. Regulators in Canada warn crypto exchanges not to promote self-custodial wallets. So the Canadian police came down on Coinbase and Kraken CEOs and told them to stop pushing self-custodial wallets. So if you're newer to the crypto game, the self-custodial wallets are essentially, think of it like a safe in your house that only you have the combination to. You having the combination is the important part of that. When you use a wallet on an exchange, it does belong to you, but the exchange itself also, it holds the key, so it has the combination to your safe. Therefore, they can stop transactions happening and things like that. The self-custodial wallets, only you have the combination to. And Canada's against that because they can't stop transactions on the self-custodial wallets. They can't monitor the self-custodial wallets the same way they can as the ones on the exchanges. And they don't want the power to be in the hands of the people because they don't have control over that. And I say, too bad, so sad. Better luck next year, but I think we're moving to a place where the people are getting sick of the government being oppressive when they don't agree, especially if people are doing things within their rights and limits and following, something that they believe, and not being, violent, or, they're peaceful. They're just on strikes, because because of what they believe. So I don't believe that means that their bank accounts should be drained and their family should be punished, and I'm not for that. So I think it's great because Jesse Powell and Brian Armstrong essentially told them to go pound sand. That this is nothing that is in their power to control, and it shouldn't be in the power of the governments to control either. So I was, very, very happy to see that. Brazilian lawmakers moved crypto transaction bill along. A UK luxury furniture retailer sees sales boost from crypto paying consumers. The Brazilian Senate Economic Affairs Committee approved a bill legitimizing crypto transactions. It's another big deal. Obviously, Brazil is, not an enormous economy, but the more places that Bitcoin becomes accepted, the closer we are to mass adoption. We take the little wins where we can get them. We take the big wins where we can get them. A win's a win. We just need to keep moving that needle forward, right? So this has that goal in mind. So this is very good to see. I was impressed that the UK luxury furniture department saw a boost from crypto paying consumers. I think it's great that retailers are starting to take these as payments and seeing the benefits of, taking this as another form of payment, another option. I remember when everybody had cash and then it moved to card, and then people wouldn't take cards because the banks charge fees. What else would they do? To even small retailers under certain transaction amounts, or for all transactions, but it didn't pay off the retailer until they were, of a certain size transaction amount. They'd actually lose money on their profits. So I think the more that we strip the power from the banks and give power to the people, the more that everybody wins. It's the mover of the coin that's going to pay the gas, not the retailer. They're going to they're going to get with a lot closer to the amount that they're needing. Obviously, some of the gas will be stripped out in the price as it's moved along, but that can be factored in. That can be inclusive. But even if it's not, the fees for most currencies, the Ethereum has its own problems that obviously the layer 2 solve, but and if you can move hundreds of dollars over for pennies compared to a 3% charge, I think is what they charge for debit card transactions, it's not even close. It can't be compared. So I was very excited to see this. And then last one I found was Snoop Dogg's in the news. His son is big on cryptocurrency. So Snoop Dogg once dreamed that his son would play professional football, but instead of the NFL, his son took a liking to cryptocurrency. He went into crypto and has now, I think he has a very good understanding of it, and he's talking to his dad on how NFTs will replace or will be big for music, and it does make sense. I don't think it's going to be as easily applied as everybody wants, but it does make sense to have, like, say, the music industry on blockchain. I think that makes sense. Imagine if they can see where every song is used or played, or can, call all those transactions and see them as a history. So I think this is good overall. Publicity is publicity, right? So I think this is good news. I don't think it's as big as I was happiest to see the CEOs of the big companies really shoving back on the Canadian police. I think that's a huge deal. And I was happy with the price action of today. Us reclaiming some of our losses, even with the S&P and a bloodbath today. They started to recover towards the end of the day. But crypto, obviously being a 24/7 market, is in much better shape. It can hurt us too. Don't get me wrong. Tonight is a good example of us being in better shape. Sometimes when it's a bloodbath for the S&P, like over the weekend, we can just continue bleeding out, right? So there's give and take, but I think the 24-hour market is overall favorable. I think the business hours type of idea on the market is very bank-ish, if I can use that analogy. I think trading's a 24/7 thing. And I think that makes complete sense. So the little dog's gonna come over and cheer on cryptocurrency, I believe. So she you gotta push Bitcoin higher over the week. We got a bunch of people counting on you. But I think we have to continue watching and monitoring the news in Russia. I don't think Bitcoin's gonna make any massive moves. I've been wrong before. But I think until something dramatic happens with Russia, either they start a full invasion, or the U.S. rips huge sanctions that piss off Putin and he comes out angry. I think until there's a catalyst, we don't see the market do any type of strong reaction just yet. But that's just my belief. Obviously, not financial advice. I'll be watching it very closely, and I'll be back with some more news, some more charts, and we'll just hope for the best. Keep pushing forward. Keep moving towards mass adoption. Keep moving towards power to the people's hands, not the government. And hopefully, Bitcoin finds its settling down area, and we can chill there long enough for the global events to slow down, so we can start pushing back to the upside. That's my hope. Yeah. Outside of that, I hope you guys and girls have a great rest of your night. I'm gonna go play with the dogs for a little bit, and probably do some more chart analysis. I might post something on Twitter later on my thoughts, but appreciate anybody watching, and I'll catch you all tomorrow. Until then, peace.